everyone, welcome to my channel. Today we're starting on a new build, a new project. It's a sort of a restoration slash engine rebuild project, which is going to be happening on this Mitsubishi Delica. I'll show you soon what she looks like and what the condition she's in right now. But this is a 2.8 turbo diesel, basically an overlander, all-terrain vehicle with rear-wheel drive, high lows, as well as the four-wheel drive. It's basically a medium version of the chassis that it came from the factory, because Mitsubishi Delica came in a super short one, a super long one, and it came in this sort of medium format. This one features crystal light roof, which basically gives me like 5 sunroofs all over the roof, which is pretty cool. I mean, once you're camping or traveling, and sometimes as you lay all the seats in the back row flat, it turns to a big bed and you sort of can enjoy the stars and whatever. But anyways, that's not the case. We are gonna be starting on this project and I'm pretty convinced on finishing it. Hopefully the sooner the better, because obviously the parts for this car are somewhat almost impossible right now to source, unless it's an overnight $1,000 whatever tariffs from Japan. Yet I'm in Canada, so it looks like I don't think I'm gonna be getting any tariffs anytime soon, so that's good news. But anyways, let's go and I'll show you what this car looks like and what we need to do on it. I know this garage does not look the garage of your dreams. We have an old Celica / AE86 here that's waiting for the 2JZ GE swap, but this is the somewhat not really good looking at this point Mitsubishi Delica. It did came with those really nice Volk racing power rims that are 2 or 3 piece. I'm not sure, I have to figure that out. The tires are obviously all basically cooked because I'm assuming they're about 15 years old. I got a car for a good deal, so I'm not expecting much of that. Some kind of a rock hit the rear glass on it, so that's something that has to be replaced, and I already have a part for it, so that's good. That's how the back looks. Usually all the letters on these cars, they usually unglue, but I still get to sort of preserve 4 out of 6, but that's nothing to be excited for. The interior is currently all in somewhat not really good condition, and here we are at the front. Here we have the engine. It's already taken apart quite bigly, I guess. And what we're taking off right now is the turbo. So what I'm getting here basically is a rattle that I actually did expose in the previous video that I did like 3, 4, 5 maybe years ago. I don't even remember how long ago that was, but definitely this car has been in my possession for quite a while, and it's been just sort of preserved in the condition that it is. Yet right now I think is the perfect time to get it done. And if you like to tag along, then make sure to subscribe, like, and perhaps maybe even comment. Maybe some of you know how to work on these 4M4 engines, 4M40 I mean, because these engines came in Mitsubishi Pajero, Delica, and they did come in a lot of different excavators. This is actually an excavator engine that is in this Overland, and it's a bulletproof million-kilometer engine, and I'm assuming you get to that point without even fully rebuilding this engine. That's how great it is. But to my knowledge, cars like excavators and all that sort of heavy-duty equipment, it gets serviced by motor hours, not by the mileage. So we will need to pull out some documents, we'll need to pull out some maintenance, perhaps recommendations, and then see what needs to be done here in order for this build to be rebuilt at least properly. I'm not thinking of going full blast of gaskets and repairing absolutely everything, but at least the top end and all the regular somewhat gaskets I will be definitely replacing, as well as probably reconstructing or refurbishing the alternator, maybe even the starter, but I'm not sure about that. it does seem like it starts from basically from the first turn, so that's good. So yeah, that's how she looks as of today. We have these rails that are somewhat already rotten. I'm not sure if I'm gonna be refurbishing them, but I do have a set of not new but close to new condition, new front push bar. Yet that push bar, I'm not sure if I'm gonna even keep that, because I will need a winch at some point. So I'm assuming this front end completely and entirely will have to be reconstructed and reinforced. And yeah, definitely installing some heavy duty lights. Although this car already came with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 frontal lights, which were fog lights, overland lights, whatever. That's already out there, pretty crazy. As well as we have the 2 headlights and then 2 high beams. So in total we have 8 to 10 front headlights. That's pretty cool. Again, the condition of the engine is not too shabby, but it is already, we can see some stains in here. And to my information, these engines can pull quite some good weight. Like, I mean, I'm sure I'll be able to perhaps tow a car with it, but in order to tow it in the best possible manner so the engine doesn't pop and the lift doesn't head, I'll have to replace this head with a Mitsubishi Canter. That's a big cube van that's used for moving heavy duty whatever in Japan and probably all over the world, all over the Asia. And they do have a solid head, because this head, as much as I remember, it's aluminum, but what we need is either has a cast iron or billet head, and that's definitely will increase the towing capacity of this monster. And maybe, since I'm rebuilding the turbo, maybe I'll put a slightly bigger internals into that turbo, because I don't really want to change the whole configuration on this until I get this car fully refurbished and looking the way I want it. And before we get to the at least first part of restoration of this car, I'll have to organize all of that, because I don't like working in a messy area. I mean, I already did organize all the wiring. This is not my garage, so I can't really make it all fancy schmancy and invest into it, but at least I can organize it, because it is not looking good at all. It just basically looks like an organized boy mess. So yeah, anyways, there we have it. A new build coming to the channel. And by the way, this is not my main channel. My main channel is Tunex TV. This is Tunex1, and basically this is my life channel. I'm doing all sorts of traveling, sports, cars, whatever goes into my head. Basically that's what I'll be doing on my live channel. But if you want to go ahead and also please subscribe to the main channel, which is Tunex TV, as well as the Instagram, where I do post pretty much daily all my edits, all the travels, all the car, not vlogs, just rollers, pictures, my art that I do in the form of editing videos. Sometimes they go crazy, sometimes they go soft. So anyways, please subscribe, like, and let's get this going. And by the way, we are converting these rear drum brakes to actual disc brakes. Right there on this hydraulic press, you get to actually see the disc that it comes with, and I like it that it's just a piece of metal, just a big blank schmank. Luckily and very unexpected, I got a message saying that basically, like, right here in my town, we have a scrapyard where there is a Pajero Mitsubishi right-hand drive on a scrapyard in Canada. That's heard of, but really pretty much unheard of. It's probably just going to be coming up more and more as we get more right-hand drive cars, since the 15-year law passes in provinces like BC, Calgary, Ontario, and the provinces like Quebec. They still have a law where you cannot import a Japanese car, or I think any car, until it reaches the age of 25, which is also very interesting. But anyways, we have different provinces, different states. It's probably the same as in US, but I'm not too sure about that. So yeah, soon, probably maybe even tomorrow, if I get a chance, if I have some time, I will definitely go and have a look at that Pajero, and maybe we'll get to source some rear disc calipers, because I have the shaft, I have the discs that I got from a different Delica that was also somewhere in Ontario, which is also unheard of, but what can you do? All right, next day. That's crazy, I connected it to the Bluetooth. Can you hear it? Anyways, that's how this situation here looks like during the daylight. Here we can see more that the oil stains everywhere is definitely needs to be addressed and cleaned. And I don't really think it's gonna take that much time. We have some rusty lines here, as well as a little bit of rust here and there on some bolts. So most of the bolts will have to be replaced, as well as the clamps. Obviously we're bleeding the brake fluid. Obviously we're changing all the fluids in all of the basically transmission pieces, which is basically the front diff, rear diff, transmission, well, engine oil, obviously, although I changed it a couple years ago. Yet oil in the engine tends to live only for 6 months, even if it's not used. If it's used, obviously it's 5,000 kilometers in the case with a turbo. So yeah, taking off the bumper at the moment. Everything here is bolted up, so it's gonna be a slow process of piece by piece removal. And so here we have the front bumper and the upper TV box, or the radiator support. As much as I understand, this is again how it looks, all pretty much torn apart. The bar is coming off slowly. I have the bolt seized in there. Maybe I should put in some transmission fluid in there. And one thing that I wanted to show is these pieces of glass that I recovered from the rusted pieces of metal. I'm not sure if this is aluminum, stainless, seems like plastic to me, that's been sort of completely and totally dipped into chrome. Those are nice super off-road IPFs. I really like the way that it looks, but unfortunately it's all basically rusted away and gone, and that's what you get here in Canada. This is how it sort of looked. Really cool. I don't know, I like this glass. The curves of the glass is definitely really cool. There was 2 of those on I think on the far out ends. So what I'm thinking of doing is hopefully recovering this, at least the design, or maybe I can find some kind of a capsule that will hold this piece of glass, because this is a really cool piece of glass I find, and I'm sure this is basically unavailable. You see how it's all curved? It all reflects upon different angles. I don't know, I really like those, and I have 2 of these. Definitely putting them back once everything is ready, so maybe I'll be able to do a carbon cast and manufacture some carbon shell for this, which will be probably pretty cool. But I never did it, I never done it, so let's see how this works out. Maybe you guys can suggest something on the remanufacturing of these units of fog lights. And again, these were basic regular halogen. I don't think they were xenon, I think they were regular halogen lights, something of this sort. And it does definitely look pretty cool with the yellow lights inside of them. And perhaps install a couple of powerful flashlights for the back as well. So for those people who always tailgate you with high beams on, you can basically back them up with some light, make the experience pleasant. So yeah, again, under the bonnet, everything is getting power washed. I'm thinking of soaking everything with a mixture of diesel soap and water, and that way I can power wash this whole thing and basically make it all clean and sparkling. It's definitely a procedure that needs to be done with a power wash afterwards, because if you leave the diesel compost on, it's just gonna be definitely quite hazardous for the engines, for the materials, for the rags, for everything. I definitely am not gonna be spraying the power wall, just probably power washing that. But most of the metal materials definitely can be cleaned with some diesel. It's not really super powerful compost, and it's not really, you can't really ignite diesel by the lighter. And for some of you who is wondering why I'm doing that, basically I don't really feel like doing a full detail on the underbody, on the under bonnet compartment. Therefore I can just mix it full, do the mixture. Perhaps that would cost me 50 cents for probably the whole entire under bonnet, and I'm just not a fan of those fancy chemicals that cost 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 bucks. And it will take me probably 3 or 4 cans to fill this up with the chemicals for the under bonnet spray. Just for places like this, which is literally under the bonnet, I will do some detailing, because here we have a duct that goes onto the intercooler, and this duct right here, which probably will need some expansion a little bit, this goes straight into the filter of the cabin. That's pretty much the only under bonnet super clean, it actually goes from both sides, so you have a big tunnel here and here, both of those go into the tunnel. But anyways, yeah, things like this I will be of course detailing, making sure all the stickers are there, all the rusted bolts are deleted, and replacing them with the new stuff. Now that we removed most of the stuff and it's raining outside, I'm gonna be sort of postponing the front for tomorrow, and we'll do a quick little update on these door locking mechanisms. Now, first of all, I would want to replace it because it's getting a little bit rusty, and second of all, what I've discovered is that right here we have 2 contact points. This is all wired. I'm assuming this is a mechanism to close the doors. Just when you bring the door sort of closer, it closes automatically. And here on this sensor we have 5 connection points, which I'm assuming maybe control something to do with either a step that rolls out from here, but that's an additional option. I'm not sure if that exists in this car or not, like it does on the other one of my minivans, which is Nissan L Grand E50. And anyways, we're gonna be replacing that, seeing what gives it. Maybe there's a button that opens and closes the door, or a trigger that closes and opens the door. I'm not sure. And as we can see, it comes with the second piece that gets replaced right here, and right here we only have 2 contact points, unlike on the new one where we have 5 connection points. This is basically a contact that connects together when the door shuts closed. And I just want to replace all the rusty bolts, and yeah, this shouldn't take more than 10 minutes. And from what it looks like here, as you can see, we have the internal connection set up for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 connectors on the inside. Same like here, we have 5 different pins, but they are placed differently, so we might need to replace the wiring on the inside, or we can maybe unpin and reconnect the internal pin into the different connector, because here we have 3 pins going in consecutively for this connector, and on this connector there is 2 connectors that go side by side, and the next one is they're basically what I'm saying is it's not gonna be a fully engaged connection, so I'm gonna have to go into the wiring and see which options the 5 actual connectors give me, so that would be interesting to follow. Now that it's all in place, we'll just close it, make sure it's all aligned. Yeah, seems like it's all in there, and now we can tighten it. Same goes when installing the opposite side as well. And now, before I call it a night and slowly drift into the next day, which is gonna be obviously tomorrow, I'm gonna walk you through the progress of tonight, where I've basically upgraded the latch mechanism only at the front of the door, but the actual latch of the door is actually in the back right here. This is the automatic mechanism that is actuating the door closure and opening. So that's something that I'm going to be doing tomorrow, because I have to take out the door card, and that's why I want to do it all properly and inspect to see how much rust do I have to deal with, and etc. Next, what we have here on the table, this is the actual mechanism that I took off the other Delica, and that's how it looks. It does have an electric motor, and that's what is responsible for an automatic door closure, at least for the latch. And I'll connect the battery tomorrow, see if that one works. Then probably there's no need for replacement, yet I will need to clean it up, service, and then put some grease and glue in the copper spray perhaps, obviously to make things run smooth. And I have compiled this oil catch can that I'll be installing for this vehicle as well. It was supposed to go on the Chaser, but since the Chaser is gonna be all clean built, black on the underhood, I don't really want to have a colorful part, and I think I have a black one laying around somewhere for the Chaser. And for the Delica, I'll be using this red one, which is not really that bad of a color, although I would want to keep things clean. But I think this can be hidden and actually not even keeping it exposed, as long as I can reach it by hand and then take all the oil out that has accumulated in there, and then put it back into the engine if it requires me to do so. Anyways, here is the old turbo. I might look into rebuilding this one and still maybe putting in the slightly larger internals in it, just for more power when we're in a higher RPM range. But again, it will most likely decrease the fuel consumption because it's a larger internal, which means that it's gonna spool up later in the RPM range, as much as I understand. That might be a useful upgrade, might not. So I'll have to see how that's gonna. I'm gonna have to see how that will actually help me with fuel consumption as well as the power delivery on the higher RPMs, because I will be towing some things on this vehicle, which is one of the goals of this car. And I'm not sure if I found these or I ordered them. They do seem kind of new, yet they do seem kind of used. I'm not sure, but it's just some kind of a hook that I can install to the back of this hood trunk that opens basically like an upper gate. And the thing with this, it's some kind of a hook, and it is on the springs, so it sort of can be useful during camping trips. I have two of these. I'm not sure where I got them, but it does have a price tag on them, which is $713.25. I'm not sure if that's US dollars or, yeah, I'm not sure. Although it does have a Skoda. This is a Skoda logo. Skoda. So it came out of some kind of a Czech Skoda, maybe something of an older car. And this is the system that I've been untangling. I've also uninstalled this from another Delica, but I might as well. By the way, I will be installing this sort of a cigarette lighter socket into the trunk of this vehicle, just so it's there, just for compatibility. And I'm gonna be doing that not because I don't have time, and I'm gonna be compiling a whole sets of systems, which wires I will have to put all the way from the back of the car to the front of the car. Sorry, all the way from the front of the car to the back of the car. All this is a Parktronic. So basically it basically tells me how I can park, how close I can come. This is the rear one, because it's gonna be sort of drilled out of the bumper and then placed somewhere here next to the Mitsubishi sign. And okay, this one looks like it's the front one. Yeah, this is the external, a whole by itself unit, which will be just installed on the front push bar with this kind of angle at it. And I know that it can be replaced with a mirror that will be installed on the hood, looking sort of down, like they do have them on Alphard, to look into the blind zone and the front of the vehicle, as well as the semi trucks have them. But having those big mirrors in the front and the back, and it's just, I mean, I already have one mirror here, which is basically shows you the angle of the rear, where it will basically tell you how close you are to the back. But I mean, having an extra electrical thing is somewhat probably pleasant, you know. It does come with ginormous sets of wires and systems where it's all actuated and replaced into the poverty button, and basically it is actually corner sensor, which probably even have some LEDs in it. I'm not sure how this will work, but I do have to figure out all this wiring. Meanwhile, I'm working on this hobby project, and this is how you turn it off and on, I guess. I'm not sure where the sound is coming from. Maybe it's coming from and beeping inside of this sensor. That's something that I also will have to figure out. Actually, I did not think of that, because there are many connectors that has to be understood how to be dealt with. So yeah, if I have enough time, I will definitely be installing this, which I will probably end up doing as long as I make sure that I have a finally complete system. And the last but not least, I'll show you the little trick that I have while using these cans, because I do sometimes lacquer spraying, and I have a lot of these cans, and this is just a pretty easy thing that you can make out of these, which will last you a lifetime anywhere in your garage, in your yard, in your home. But it's just one of those durable extra things that you can make with your hands in about a minute. But before we get to that, I also do have a dual battery kit here, which I will be installing as well. This is the terminal for two connections of only the positives, and the batteries are placed side by side. And here we have the wire that is responsible for the negative, and here as well, as you can see, we have two terminals that go side by side, and those are both for negative terminals for the batteries that are standing side by side, and they are connected polarity by polarity. And an extra fuel pump that I have that I might be just keeping, because why not? Those things are pretty hefty expensive nowadays. They usually go for about $1,500+. Just a useful thing to have on a long trip. Back to this trick. So it's pretty easy peasy. You take a nice sharp object, like perhaps this multi-tool, and you cut a cross in it, and that basically, after you're done with it, you slowly start to create sort of punch in a hole like this, and which will eventually turn into a nice compartment for bolts or anything that you need to keep in large quantities, and you want to keep it organized. But make sure 100% to wear a glove, because this is really sharp. And here you go. You just need to clean on the inside. And yeah, basically here you go. You have your little compartment here for storing either bolts, wires, anything that you do need to be storing in large quantities. I usually just, even if I do lug nuts on the vehicle, if I take out all the four rims and tires, I just place all the bolts inside here, and as well as I just put the anti-seize inside, or whatever, all the caps and etc., so that everything is organized, and then I put it back. In this case, I'll be just using this for bolts for the Delica, and right here I will be putting a little scotch tape with the sign that it's for the Delica L400, just like that. All right, so day number 2, we decided to start off with something a little bit less engaging, and I'm gonna be removing the old and sort of a little bit rusty roof racks. They are branded as Yakima, And coincidentally, I do have this Yakima front sort of cap that makes the car look maybe more aerodynamic. Not sure, but I think it will look pretty cool on the roof here. Yet not with these sort of rotten roof racks. I'm not sure if I can restore them into their glory. Maybe I can work on something and make them fresh again, but I'm not sure. So anyways, I do not have the key for this mechanism yet. I figured it out how to just undo it by hand. You don't really need the key for this. I already finished one, and with this one I will have to probably use some liquid wrenching, because it does look like it needs some of this, and I'll explain you how it works right now. So the only thing that you will need is a negative screwdriver. That's all it is. Inside we have a mechanism that shifts this knob out and in, and when it's in the locked position, it is hidden in this compartment, which does not allow this to screw to move freely. So what we're doing is we're basically putting it back to its hidden position. If I can do that, there you go, it's shifted. Now, as you can see, this knob is in, and that will allow us to unscrew the tightening mechanism right there, which pushes the plate against the body, the chassis, and that will basically sort of make this thing move around freely. And that's how you take off those old style Yakimas without a tool, which is pretty cool. Hopefully this information will not go into the wrong hands. And meanwhile all that is getting soaked, we took off the headlights, and we're taking off probably both of the side fenders. Now, for those of you who own one and wonder how do they come off, because some of you would probably want to put on the snorkel, whatever. You have this bunch of pieces behind the lights, bunch under, and then there's bunch on the sides, and then you have this trim piece that you have to take off. It's on clips, and then you also have two bolts here that you have to sort of undo, and then hopefully we're not gonna bend the thing. And just make sure to take it off while the door is closed. And let's pop off this light. And there you go, that's how it goes. The reason why I'm taking it off is because right here I have a dent. I'm not sure what happened here, but I have to straighten it out, and then probably obviously sand it, repaint it, put in the new clips, and install it back. But all the bolts that I've been taking off, they're all being replaced by the new ones because we have some rust going on, and of course that has to be eliminated as soon as possible. And this is basically what you see when you take off the fender. We have the windshield washer fluid that drips out actually as you press on it, but anyways, I'm gonna clean up all that stuff. A bunch of connectors, bunch of sensors. This is for the headlights, cleaning up some rust. And then we have this interesting connection here. I'm not sure what this is meant to be for, so if some of you know what's supposed to be here, let me know. But this is still a working sort of hole, and I mean, there is some internal saloon interior wiring going on, but that's not the point. The point is that I can perhaps use this as another wiring solution, another outlet for the wires, for the controls inside of the car. unless this is some kind of a very useful option that I can fill in from factory, but I don't know what used to be here. Maybe some kind of a module for lights, or maybe Vibasto. I'm just not sure what this is meant for, but this is this what we have here is probably the drainage channel that takes out all the water. Let's actually open it up and see what's going on in there. This comes from the interior, right? Oh no, it's not coming up from the interior, it's coming from the, looks like it's coming from this side of the chassis. But anyways, yeah, we're gonna be power washing all that, vacuum cleaning. That's why I'm taking off the front end of this vehicle, and all this rust must be definitely eliminated, cleaned, cut out and replaced with either metal or just treated with the rust proofing solution. As well as right here, all because of this bolt, we started getting rust on the metal piece that holds on the brace, and then it transferred all the way to this AC line or oil coolant for transmission radiator line. Not sure what that is. All of that is getting out. All right, now that we got everything off, headlights off, I mean the bumper is almost off, this front push bar is almost off. I'm working on that with a Sawzall. And the under bonnet compartment, under the hood, after the first stage of cleaning, it starts to pick up a little bit of shine. I used this shine thing, sprayed it down just once. I didn't even power wash it. I just rinsed it down, made some wiping here and there. And the next stage that I'm gonna be doing after I get off the turbo, after I take off the turbo and the push bar, I will definitely do another round of cleanliness, but we'll have to do it with some components being wrapped in aluminum tin foil, like all the electricals, the alternator, most of the wires, some of the ducts for the ears, and then mostly the connections. Now it's the fun time. It's been a very, very long journey taking this off. Again, that's what we're doing. The frame has a little bit of dent in it, so we'll have to completely and totally remanufacture some pieces of the frame, but we need to get this rusty thing out for sure. Big one. So now it's time for the turbo, and since I have those two bolts there that are just barely giving any signs of unscrewing, most likely I'll just have to cut the exhaust pipe and then weld it back on. It's not coming out so far. So after a couple of hours, what we have is that it's late outside. We're deep into the night, and looks like the turbo is going to be coming off tomorrow, essentially in the next video. I pretty much got everything unscrewed. We have a coolant line, oil line, and then another oil line and another coolant line, and I have to figure out if there is a bolt that comes from the pipe into the mounting point somewhere in the back. That's something that I haven't really figured out yet, but it doesn't come out yet. And again, the guardrail at the front is off. We have it here assembled, disassembled in 2 pieces. I mean, I took all the 6 lights off as well. This piece I'm gonna be keeping, restoring, and then hopefully I'll be able to find some kind of a tape that I can refurbish this Mitsubishi sign. And as well as I'm getting this super wrinkly rust paint for this, so it's gonna be a little bit of a heavy duty scheme. I'm not sure if I can adjust or build the next guardrail with a possible addition, which will be the winch to the front. That's something that I would probably like to do. I mean, definitely it is a ultimate expeditional helper, because a winch in an off-road or during the camping, fishing, hunting, I think it's a good addition. And we got a late night meal cooking. And by the way, I'm not sure if I mentioned or not, but everything will be getting wrapped in the foil here for the next stage of the washing of the underbody of the bonnet compartment, because that's probably the most turn off for me, is to work in a dirty diesel under bonnet compartments, since everything that you're going to be touching is greasy. And again, I think it's good to make sure that everything is clean, because that way when the engine will be operating, the next possible leak or the ongoing leak that I'm not able to spot right now will be visible after I'm gonna start running this thing daily. So yeah, basically that's all for this video. If you want to follow along with the build, make sure to like, subscribe, and give me a comment if you're more educated on the topic of Delica L400 with a 4M40 engine, and if you've seen like I've missed something, or if you have an idea of what might be that knocking sound of the engine when I press throttle while it's in load, which means while it's in gear, which is drive, or backwards, the car doesn't really work. And it only accelerates probably 20 to 30 kilometers an hour, which is not really the way that I would want to do it. But yeah, I'm assuming I might have to either adjust the high pressure fuel pump for the diesel, or maybe it has to do something with one of those actuators that activates the turbo plunger. I'm not sure what that is. I'm not really a diesel mechanic, but I'll try to figure it out by hand, as well as I will be probably downloading and printing the Delica manual. I actually do have that file laying around somewhere. I just have to lift up all my old USBs. And if you feel like if you need one of those fully manuals on full service of Delicas, comment down in the section. I'll probably open up a Telegram channel where I'll be downloading and sharing with you guys all the manuals for all the cars that I'm doing, which is BMW X5, Toyota Chaser, Toyota Verosa, which is essentially the same, just a different gas tank layout basically, and Fairlady Z31. Volkswagen Golf is not really getting any service, but maybe, you never know. Anyways, stay tuned. Make sure to subscribe to all of my Instagrams. If you are a car fan, I do make some fancy schmancy videos and reels sometimes, as well as do photos. And yeah, see you in the next one.